Hi there, my name is Aditya Asgaonkar. I am a blockchain researcher with a computer science background. I'll be working at Boson on mechanism design for the core exchange mechanism for solving e-commerce moderated through the blockchain medium.
Could you tell us a little bit more about how you got into crypto?
I chose computer science as my discipline. The time that I did my undergrad coincided with the rise of crypto. That's around the time when Ethereum got popular. It seemed like a very, very interesting area from a computer science perspective because there's so many unsolved problems. The frontier of research is not really that far as compared to other fields like machine learning, where you have to potentially invest years of learning and understanding research before you can actually contribute to the field. Compared to that, blockchain is a relatively very new field, lots of unexplored territory, and it's very easy to get involved. So that's what brought me to crypto in the first place.
So, how did you get involved with Ethereum development and particularly the L2 side of it?
During my undergrad course, there was a 6 month period where I chose to do a thesis, which is sort of like a research internship at a university in California. During this time, I attended a workshop at Cornell, which was called the IC3 Bootcamp. It's a very popular event among the Ethereum core devs and other people. And I didn't know that at this time. I just applied and forgot about it. A few months later, I got an invite and they said that the ticket fees are waived. You'll just have to pay for flight and board and just come over. It'll be fun. I went there. The first people I see there are like Vitalik and Hudson Jameson and Vlad. And I really didn't know who these people are at the time. And we sort of just collaborated on projects. And at the end of the week, they agreed to fund my thesis for a few months. I agreed to, in exchange for that, do some research for Casper CBC, still one of the Ethereum research projects. That's how I got involved with Ethereum. And on the L2 side of things, this was more of a collaboration with the professor who was advising my thesis. His name is Bhaskar Krishnamachari. He's a professor at USC. And we did write two papers, one of them on TCRs and the other on a dual deposit escrow mechanism, which is very closely related to what Boson is trying to do.
Could you give us a bit more detail on your thesis that you wrote? That sounds pretty exciting.
So instead of doing a deep dive into one specific topic, I decided to split my time between a couple of topics. And those topics were consensus level stuff, which is Casper CBC, a research paper on TCRs and how their crypto economic design works or doesn't work, which is the topic of the paper. And the third topic was this dual deposit escrow, which solves the problem for purchase of digital items between a buyer and seller. And this is done in a trust minimized fashion because of the mechanism that we introduced in the paper.
A lot of synergy there. What's your view on where commerce is going, and in particular, decentralized commerce?
The capabilities that blockchains give you are mostly related to the digital ecosystem. It's really far away from real world commerce where, there's things happening in the physical world. You go out there and buy a coffee, and there's no way that you can represent this on the blockchain in like completely trustless manner. It's a really hard problem to solve to moderate all of these commercial activities on the blockchain. I'm certain that there is a realistic way to do it. That's the main thesis at Boson Protocol. That's what we are here to explore.
With the advent of decentralized commerce and boson protocols coming into fruition, what do you think the world of commerce is going to look like 5, possibly even 10 years down the road?
With the kind of capabilities that blockchains give you, the main thing is credible commitments, where if the smart contract says that, if the seller violates their contract and doesn't provide the specified services, let's assume for now we have a way to represent all the services that the seller provided in the smart contract. Let's assume that that problem is solved, then this credible commitment thing gives you a really strong way to ensure that misbehavior is punished and that things happen in the well defined manner that the buyer wants. Of course, this happens in existing contracts as well. There are service level agreements between customers and their cloud service providers. If something goes wrong, then it falls back to court or some other dispute resolution mechanism, which exists today. It may be an association, it may be the customer support service for that cloud company. Doing it in a trustless manner using the tools that blockchains give, that would really be something.
How did you decide to join Boson Protocol, and how did your journey with Boson come about?
Justin reached out to me and basically he said, "Hey, we are trying to solve this problem that you have written something about, which was my paper from my thesis." And yeah, I definitely think it's an interesting problem to solve. And
Going forward, what do you want to see come out of Boson?
the thing that we are aiming for in the core mechanism team is to come up with a template that solves the problem for trustless commerce between buyers and sellers, which means that any kind of buyer and seller, any kind of transaction between the buyer and seller, whether it's for a physical item, whether it's for a digital item, whether it's for a service, these should happen trustlessly in a trust minimized fashion where we reduce the things that can go wrong and we have strong penalties and incentives to make sure everyone is on track. And that is, as of yet, an unexplored area.
There's lots of stuff happening in crypto right now. What is exciting to you about the space right now?
I think the sheer amount of talent in here and the collaborations that that happen are amazing. I really did not expect that I would be collaborating with such brilliant people just a few years outside of college. Apart from the human resources and the talent here, I think the stuff that we are building is really something. A good benchmark for whether something has really, reached its potential is when the thing that you're building is used in an unexpected and spectacular manner. So for example, when, the internet protocols came out, no one expected that there would be something like Twitter or Facebook or Amazon. And the fact that it came out really means that the internet is something fantastic and the people who worked on building the internet really did something great. So, maybe a few years down the line, we look back and realize that what we set out to build today is being used in a spectacular fashion and we really did something right.